What if the most terrifying weapon on a 2026 battlefield isn't a $30 million stealth drone, but a flying lawnmower that costs less than a used Toyota? For decades, the U.S. MQ-9 Reaper was the undisputed king of the sky. But in the smoke of Ukraine and the Middle East, a new reality has emerged. Iran didn't try to out-engineer the Pentagon. They outproduced them. They turned the sky into a math problem that even $1 billion Patriot battery can't solve. But here's the twist. The U.S. isn't just watching anymore. They're hitting back with their own cheap and deadly clones. Today, we're breaking down the brutal reality of the drone wars, Iranian swarm strategy versus American high-tech. Which one wins the future, the sniper or the swarm?
Welcome to Hardpoint Military. We break down the hardware and the strategy changing the front lines in real time. If you want the ground truth on the 2026 arms race, hit that subscribe button and join the briefing. Let's get into the data.
For 20 years, drone warfare was about one thing: the sniper. The U.S. led the world with exquisite platforms like the Reaper, surgical tools meant to hunt high-value targets with pinpoint accuracy. But Iran looked at the price tag and chose a different path. They realized that in a real war, precision is a luxury. Saturation is a necessity. Instead of one drone that can see everything, they built 10,000 drones that can hit anything. This isn't just a new weapon, it's a complete rewrite of the rules of engagement. As of 2026, the question isn't, can you hit the target? It's, can the defender afford to stop you?
Enter the Shahed 136. On paper, it's almost a joke. It's slow, barely topping 120 miles per hour, and it's powered by a reverse-engineered German lawnmower engine that's so loud you can hear it coming from miles away. The frame isn't high-grade titanium. It's a mix of carbon fiber, honeycombed plastic, and literal industrial styrofoam. Even its brain is basic, relying on off-the-shelf civilian GPS chips and hardware you'd find inside a basic smartphone. But don't let the budget build fool you. At $35,000 a unit, Iran and Russia don't treat these as aircraft. They treat them like long-range bullets. Because they are so cheap, they are used to break the math of war. They fly low, hugging the terrain to hide in the clutter of hills and buildings, where traditional radar struggles to see them. But their real power is in the swarm. When you launch 100 of these at once, you create a saturation crisis. A defender is suddenly forced into a lose-lose choice. Do you fire a $4 million Patriot missile to shoot down a $35,000 drone? Or do you save your money and pray that the drone doesn't slam into a $1 billion power plant or a crowded city center? In 2026, the Shahed has proven that you don't need to be invisible if you are simply too cheap to stop. This is the math war, a cold-blooded game of economic attrition. Traditionally, the U.S. protects its assets with the Patriot missile system, the gold standard of air defense. But in 2026, the economics are broken. A single Patriot PAC-3 interceptor costs roughly $4 million. When you use one to kill a $30,000 lawnmower, you aren't just defending a base, you're losing a financial battle. If Iran launches a swarm of 100 Shahed 136s, it costs them $3 million. To stop every single one, the U.S. has to burn through $400 million in high-end munitions in a single afternoon. That is a 130-to-1 economic disadvantage. In a long war, the defender goes bankrupt before the attacker runs out of drones. This is why the Pentagon finally pivoted. They realized they were bringing a gold-plated scalpel to a sledgehammer fight, trading finite million-dollar missiles for infinite, cheap drones. During Operation Epic Fury, the message became clear: you can't win a war if you're priced out of the sky.
By early 2026, the math war finally saw its first major counteroffensive. Ukraine realized it was bleeding out by using million-dollar missiles on $30,000 drones. So they built a new class of weapon, the interceptor drone. Leading the charge are specialized hunters like the Sting and the P-1 Sun. These aren't your typical hobbyist quadcopters. The Sting, developed by the Wild Hornets Group, is a 200-mile-per-hour speed 3D printed bullet with 4 rotors that can scream through the air at over 200 miles per hour. It's designed for one purpose: to chase down a Shahed and ram it at full speed. At just $2,500 a unit, it's a technological bargain. In January 2026 alone, Ukraine reported destroying over 1,700 Shaheds, and a staggering 70% of those kills came from these cheap interceptors. This isn't just a tactical win, it's a complete reversal of the economic curve. For the first time, the defender is spending 10 times less than the attacker. For $2,500, you aren't just killing a drone, you're saving a $4 million Patriot missile and the city it was meant to protect. In the skies of 2026, the hunter has officially become the hunted. Which brings us to Project Replicator and the Lucas drone. This is the moment the Pentagon finally stopped trying to make everything exquisite. Recognizing the math was against them, they fast-tracked a reverse-engineered clone of the Shahed 136. The result? The Lucas, a $35,000 delta-wing kamikaze built by Arizona-based Spectre Works. While it looks like a Shahed, the Lucas is far more lethal. It uses AI mesh networking and Starlink terminals to talk in real time. If one drone is shot down, the rest of the swarm automatically reassigns its target without human input. We just saw this in action. On February 28, 2026, during Operation Epic Fury, the U.S. launched Task Force Scorpion Strike. They didn't just use ground launchers, they fired Lucas swarms directly from the deck of the USS Santa Barbara. It was a historic pivot. For the first time, American forces used expendable mass to deliver retribution at a price the enemy could finally understand. So who wins the future of drone warfare? In 2026, the answer isn't the best drone or the most drones. It's both. The U.S. is moving to a high-low strategy. Platforms like the MQ-9 Reaper act as the eyes and command center of the battlefield, while large numbers of low-cost drones like the Lucas carry out the attacks. Iran showed that quantity can overwhelm technology. Ukraine showed that smart defenses can counter swarms. Now, the U.S. is proving the real advantage is combining both. Because modern war isn't about building the perfect weapon, it's about who can deploy them at scale. The era of the lone superweapon is ending. The age of the swarm has begun. If a $35,000 drone can take down a billion-dollar warship, is the era of the aircraft carrier finally over? Give me your take in the comments. If you want more briefings like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe to Hardpoint Military to join the unit.